Kwame Kilpatrick.
This is the fight of my life.
Preparing for battle.
The federal government.
The culture of corruption is over.
Ready to unleash an explosive case years in the making.
Less than a decade ago, he was a rising star in the Democratic Party.
I dared mighty things for the citizens of my city.
He was the new hope for the Motor City.
To rise up! To rise up!
And then came scandal.
Do you owe him an apology?
After scandal.
I don't whore around on my wife.
After scandal.
We charged Kwame Kilpatrick with perjury.
And it all came crashing down.
I lied under oath.
But what you saw unfolding in front of the camera might not compare to what unfolds over the next several months.
Tonight, 7 takes you deep inside the corruption case.
You will hear from the key players.
Y'all made me a criminal.
We uncover exclusive new information.
Knew Scott had to come in with something.
In the biggest trial this city has ever seen.
This is a 7 Action News special report inside the Kilpatrick corruption case.
Just 8 years ago, they were chanting his name at the Democratic National Convention. Tonight, as the 2012 convention is already underway, Kwame Kilpatrick is far removed from the political spotlight.
Yeah, instead of preparing speeches, he's preparing for trial on charges that could cost him his freedom.
Kwame Kilpatrick, his father Bernard Kilpatrick, his longtime friend Bobby Ferguson, and former Water Department head Victor Mercado will answer accusations that they ran a criminal enterprise right out of the mayor's office.
Tonight, our entire 7 Action News investigative team breaks this story down for you. We're going to give you a deeper look at all 4 men, how they got to this point, where they are now, and what they face in the coming months.
But first, we're going to take a closer look at all of the charges.
Yeah, this is a complex case, but it's one that fits together like a puzzle. The feds are alleging Kwame Kilpatrick, his good friend Bobby Ferguson, City Water Director Victor Mercado, and Kilpatrick's father Bernard Kilpatrick profited millions from a criminal enterprise. Here's how the feds say the complicated puzzle fit together. At the center of much of this is Bobby Ferguson, who owns construction and demolition companies. Feds say contractors doing business with the city of Detroit were coerced to include Ferguson as a subcontractor before, during, and after getting a contract. Many, but not all, gave in. Some of the influence, prosecutors say, came from the top, Kwame Kilpatrick himself, and from Mercado on expensive water and sewer projects. Ferguson got a piece of those projects. Bernard Kilpatrick was allegedly in on the payoffs as a consultant who contractors had to go through to do city business, and he benefited simply as the mayor's daddy. 3 nonprofits were allegedly used to funnel some of the money from Ferguson to Kwame Kilpatrick, Bernard Kilpatrick, and the rest of the first family. The feds documented cash, trips, golf, and yoga lessons for Kilpatrick, summer camp for his kids, a crisis manager, and anti-bugging equipment right before he resigned in 2008, and an attempt to buy furniture from the Manoogian Mansion Restoration Society. Kilpatrick told 7 Action News he was shocked when he saw the phrase Kilpatrick Enterprise in the indictment.
When I first saw it, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous, and it could not be discussing me. I think it's politically motivated, and I think it's something that I got to fight through, but I'm going to fight very hard. I'm very engaged, and I'm very tenacious about making sure that the truth gets out there.
And that's really how this legal puzzle fits together. But how did Kwame Kilpatrick's career fall apart? Well, investigator Heather Catallo joins us now, and Heather has certainly began with a lot of promise.
From standing arm in arm with future President Barack Obama to spending months behind bars, Kilpatrick's flame once burned bright, but ended in disgrace with an apology and a promise to return.
At the age of just 31, Kwame Kilpatrick defeated popular city council president Gil Hill and became a rising star in the Democratic Party. His potential for Detroit seemed unlimited, and he had many believing the same for the city.
Now it's time for all of us to rise up and begin our future right here, right now.
He was a mayor who touted himself as the ultimate family man.
There's no way I can be a true leader of the city of Detroit if I don't lead in my own house.
But just months into his first term, Kilpatrick seemed seduced by the trappings of power. He traveled with rock star-style entourages, a security detail more appropriate for a president than a mayor. And news reports exposed Kilpatrick for charging pricey meals and exotic hotel rooms on his city-issued credit card.
He was going to stay at very fancy hotels when he went out of town, like the Four Seasons, and racking up $500 spa visits.
But after the 7 Action News investigators exposed the pricey red Lincoln Navigator leased for Kilpatrick's wife for $24 grand a year, that became a symbol of excess at a time when he was asking others to tighten their belts.
But these are difficult times, and they demand sacrifice.
When reporters pressed Kilpatrick on his own excesses, he lost it.
Hey, do it. Who is Carmen?
Come on.
The mayor and his staff weren't the only ones playing kill the messenger. Who could forget this anti-media plea his mother made during his second run for mayor?
Turn off that television, y'all! Turn off the radio! Don't let nobody talk about y'all's boy!
Despite the negative press, Kilpatrick surprised everyone as he inched past Freeman Hendricks to win a second term.
One story that wouldn't go away and haunted both terms was the fabled Manoogian Mansion party. The never-proven rumor alleged that Kilpatrick's wife assaulted stripper Tamara Green.
We could never prove it.
Couldn't find anything to substantiate it. And the more we looked at it, the bigger the conspiracy required to make it real.
Kilpatrick insisted it never happened.
I want people to understand that I would never disrespect my God, my wife, or my children.
As the scandal swirled, Kilpatrick fled to Washington, where he adamantly told us in an exclusive interview,
I don't whore around on my wife, and I don't have wicked nude parties at my house.
He showed similar disdain when asked under oath about an affair with his then chief of staff, Christine Beatty.
I think it's absurd to assert that every woman that works with a man is a whore.
Words that would later come back to haunt him.
This has been a very difficult time for my wife and my family.
On live television, a contrite Kilpatrick wound up apologizing for the affair that had become evident from text messages. But what he did was more than embarrassing. It was a crime.
We charge Kwame Kilpatrick only with perjury in a court proceeding.
Kilpatrick later came clean and finally cut a deal.
I lied under oath.
His punishment? $1 million in restitution, 120 days in jail, and he had to resign from office. On the way out, he made this infamous promise.
And I want to tell you, Detroit, that you done set me up for a comeback.
The text message scandal cost taxpayers millions, tarnished Detroit's reputation, and left many people angry at Kwame Kilpatrick.
What I hear them say, Mr. Kilpatrick, is that you had everything and you could have turned the city around, and they feel like you let them down. What do you say to them?
They're right. I mean, it's no long answer. Those people are right.
Things went from bad to worse for Kilpatrick. He spent 14 months in prison for missing restitution payments and lying to the judge about his assets.
Now, if he is convicted in this federal corruption trial that begins tomorrow, how much time is the ex-mayor looking at?
Well, potentially for the racketeering charges alone, it's up to 20 years in federal prison, but it is up to the jury.
Oh, thank you, Heather.
Now, Kilpatrick did not go down alone. Some family members and close friends were also charged, went to jail, or suffered humiliating defeats. Two were Castech high school buddies who Kilpatrick credits for putting him in office at his first inauguration.
They've been there from day one, and they'll be there at the end, because what God has put together, nothing can break apart.
That was Kilpatrick more than 10 years ago, thanking Christine Beatty and Derek Miller, who ran his campaigns and would become high-ranking aides. Miller has since been indicted, cut a plea deal, and is expected to testify against Kilpatrick. Beatty has left town. Others who have fallen include his mother, former Congresswoman Carolyn Cheeks Kilpatrick, who lost her bid for re-election thanks to her son's scandals. His cousin, Nika Cheeks, was convicted of embezzling money from a fund that was supposed to maintain the mayor's mansion. And longtime friends, brothers DeDan and Candia Milton, played key roles in Kilpatrick's administration, but have since been convicted of taking bribes and are expected to testify against him. Just ahead,
Are you really making enough money to afford all this?
an Action News exclusive.
I knew Scott had to come in with something.
Kwame Kilpatrick's lavish lifestyle.
What's the arrangement? Are they helping you out with the car?
The investigators on the prowl in Dallas, Texas.
Plus,
y'all made me a criminal. I wasn't a criminal before then.
but his rap sheet says otherwise. Investigator Ross Jones uncovers new information about Bobby Ferguson.
and one defendant threatening to expose more information about Kwame Kilpatrick in court. And you can track this case from the beginning on WXYZ.com. We've got a timeline set up. Just click the link on our homepage.